Microsoft is deep in its regulatory battle to acquire Activision Blizzard. But another test is on the horizon, is its much anticipated Xbox release Starfield, set for September. For more on what this means for the tech giant, we're joined by Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley. Dan, I know you're all over this.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely all over this. I actually watched the entire Microsoft presentation over the weekend with my friend, nerding out. But this is about Microsoft's game Starfield. A lot of the conversation with Microsoft right now has to do with its impending acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's being held up by the FTC as well as the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK. But the conversation that should be going on is what this game in particular means for Microsoft and its future. Starfield is the first new intellectual property from the company Bethesda. That's part of ZeniMax, which Microsoft acquired for $7.5 billion in 2021. The fact that this game is coming from Bethesda is massive. They have two franchises that are highly regarded among gamers and critics. The Elder Scrolls series and Fallout. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim was a game that basically just generated memes for the gaming community, and now it's on every system you can think of. This is going to be the type of game, it's a Microsoft, Xbox, and PC exclusive that Microsoft uses to push its Game Pass service. Game Pass is really where Microsoft wants to move forward. It's part of the reason why they want to acquire Activision Blizzard, and this is the test for them to see if they can take a major first-party title and then use that to juice its Game Pass numbers. Getting into Game Pass, it starts at $9.99. There's the $15 version, it's $14.99 really, and you get cloud gaming involved in that. Microsoft is heavily pushing that. Starfield will be available on Game Pass and cloud streaming the day it's released to market, and that means that they're really going to want to see gamers engage, get the hours in on that service, and then if they do, then that means they'll re-up with other games in the future. And just to, circle back to watching that event on Sunday with my friend, if you watched after every single announcement, they said coming to Game Pass the same day it's released, or Game Pass exclusive, things along those lines. So it's really part of Microsoft's larger gaming strategy. Sure, they're likely being outsold as far as hardware goes when it comes to the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X and S, but they're not thinking about that as much as they're thinking of the future, and the future is Game Pass and cloud streaming.
So then, depending on how successful this is, could this end up backfiring on them and have regulators say, look, they're even more powerful when it comes to sort of factoring that into the Activision Blizzard merger? Yeah,
it's a good question. Look, their big deal with Activision Blizzard and the FTC's big deal is Microsoft has the bulk of the cloud streaming market. It's still a very nascent market, by the way. It's not as though, you can talk to your regular game and be like, hey, are you cloud, streaming this? No, that's not the case at all. That said, Microsoft, according to the UK CMA, has between 60 and 70% of market share. Their competitors include Sony's PlayStation service, Nvidia has its own service, and a few others, but really it's Microsoft and Game Pass. And if they go out and prove that they're capable of doing this without a major title like Call of Duty from Activision Blizzard, then that would potentially kind of hurt them in the long run as far as this FTC case goes, and then the UK's Competition and Markets Authority goes. So, it could be a negative if it does take off. But I think for Microsoft, the bigger win would be proof that its service is worth it and gamers want to go towards it, and then eventually it becomes the go-to for them. Activision Blizzard is all about the cloud as well, Call of Duty, but Microsoft isn't locking that into just them for now. They've said they'll offer it for 10 years on different platforms. So I think when it comes down to it right now, Starfield is probably the most important game that Microsoft is going to be releasing for years.